there's nothing better than getting up on a Saturday morning knowing you're going to the football.
We've been here before. I've said I'm going to skip to Kenilworth Road before, and then we lost to Mansfield. I'm not actually going to skip. I don't think my ankles can take it. Metaphorically, I'm skipping there. He's angling for you to buy him a beer. You know he is. In the fan zone.
I was thinking that you were going to get me a beer in the fan zone, no?
When Luton are doing well, I think we all do very well.
You should be going there with this old but newfound confidence that we can beat these.
Some going for a team that couldn't hit the target for love nor money beforehand.
We couldn't hit the cow, let alone its backside with the banjo to finish off the analogy. And let's be honest, I don't think anyone appreciated quite how good Jake Richards is. He's got the potential to be a generational talent, certainly at this level and potentially the ones above. There's no international break for the Town this weekend, so the home game against Rotherham United takes place on Saturday, and alongside me to look ahead to Jack Wilshere's second home league game in charge, that is the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe, and we've got Town fan Dan Barratt-Davis back for the second time this week. Gents, perfect time to build on some momentum that we're picking up, I think.
Absolutely.
Who's skipping to Kenilworth Road then?
Not me, I've got bad hips.
We will find out if Jimbo is going to be true to his word and do exactly that right after this intro. Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the award-winning, longest-running Luton Town podcast, having scooped bronze in the Best Football League podcast category in the Football Content Awards. Once again, the show is in association with Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As I mentioned prior to the intro, we're looking ahead to Luton Town versus Rotherham United, Saturday 3 p.m. Kenilworth Road. No UK TV coverage for this one, so if you haven't got a ticket to the game, you'll obviously have to find other ways and means of keeping up to date to it. I will, of course, do an instant reaction after full time. We'll have that out to you as quickly as we can Saturday afternoon. Jimbo, I'll start with you. It's good that this game's going ahead, right? Because we'll cover all the internationals and everything shortly. But after the absolute brilliance of Saturday and the buzz that we've all had off of Saturday, and I'm still buzzing even now from it. If we had to wait 2 weeks, there's a danger that some of that momentum would be lost, but it would be the longest 2 weeks in history waiting for the next game to come along. If anything, I'd have preferred a game on Tuesday night, but Saturday's the next best thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had sort of an inkling that might be the case, and I'm glad it's come that's the way it's played out, because too many times there's been this momentum killer of the international breaks, and I just want to get there now. This week has dragged on far too long already, and the next couple of days can't go quick enough. Just want to get there and get involved in this again, because it's just totally changed, hasn't it? Everything. I mean, we've been here before. I've said I'm going to skip to Kenilworth Road before, and then we lost to Mansfield. By the way, I'm not actually going to skip. 44 years old this year, and I don't think my ankles can take it. Metaphorically, I'm skipping there. It's just this lightness of when you walk into the ground now, and I'm buzzing for it. I love it. I stick on my little playlist in the earphones and have a little strut down to Kenilworth Road. Absolutely brilliant. Love it when it's all going well.
And it's been a while, Dan, before we've been able to do it. I mean, there were flashes of it under Matt, certainly towards the end of last season, after that sort of Easter period where we beat Derby, beat Bristol City, and obviously the Coventry game was a real high going into it and everything else. But they've been few and far between over the last 12 months where you've genuinely wanted Kenilworth Road to be right in front of you, like straight away. You want to be in there, you want to taste everything. Even when we've been going recently, 3:10 was too early to get in there, as opposed to now 2:10 and see the warm-ups and enjoy the atmosphere and everything else. We're back to those days now, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we're slowly getting back to them, yeah. And it's been a long time coming. I mean, I've had times this season where I've really dreaded, I've been texting my mate going, shall we give this one a miss today, sort of thing. Never going to do it because I'm a mad fan, and I'll try and get to as many matches as possible, despite what the situation is. But it certainly feels less of a chore, and that's where we all wanted to be anyway. That's where we've wanted to be for a long time, and at this moment in time, we're there. And again, I hope it continues for as long as possible, because there's nothing better than getting up on a Saturday morning knowing you're going to the football. And that's because that's what we all do. That's why we all go to work in the week. And I'll go to work. Some of you don't, but
do you hold on to your horses? I think
I'll keep it around, don't I? Well, but no, that's the point I'm making. Like, we all work really hard to go to have the money to go and watch the football on a Saturday and get me on Luton, and to be able to look forward to it and just forget about life for a couple of hours. It's great when Luton are doing well. I think we all do very well.
And that's exactly it, isn't it, Jimbo?
Yeah.
Because you've mentioned about the fun, but that's what it is, right? We work our what's off during the week to go and enjoy ourselves on a Saturday. And when the football is enjoyable on a Saturday, there's just an absolute feeling that it's not like nothing else. It's just brilliant. And the weeks drag and the work feels a lot longer, but then the Saturday comes around and it's fantastic. And I like you guys. I'm really looking forward to it. Let's talk about a little bit of history of the fixture. Last time they were at Kenilworth Road was the one and done for Mick, wasn't it, between Nathan and Rob? They came here. Everyone was it was the second coming of Mick. Or we knew he was only going to do one game, didn't we? Because we had the World Cup break straight after it. But we were all on a high, weren't we? Because obviously Mick's previous managerial reign had led us to the League One title. And within 60 seconds, we're 1-0 down to this lot. And you're like, oh, for crying out loud, what's going on here? Luke Berry equalised in injury time for a 1-1 draw. Rob took over after the World Cup break, and we all know where that ended up. That was, of course, in the Championship. Our last meeting was actually there in April of that season. A very, very comfortable 2-0 win. I think Corley Woodrow and Carlton Morris the other way around, actually. Carlton Morris scored the first goal in the first half. Corley Woodrow missed a penalty and scored the rebound in the second half. It's generally a fixture that's not too unkind to us, and let's hope it remains that case on Saturday.
Absolutely. They're doing really well, Rotherham, so it's going to be a hard game. But listen, if you go to the league leaders who've only lost once all season to a very good Bradford side at their own patch and blow them off the park 3-0, then you should be going into every game with a very good degree of confidence that you can beat anyone in this league. There's a lot of neutral pundits that think Luton should be getting promoted and have the best squad, and they haven't lived up to it. All the way until Jack Wilshere come here, and now they're starting to do that. So you should be going there with this old but newfound confidence that we can beat these.
Indeed, yeah. Let's focus a little bit on Rotherham then, as we usually do. He wouldn't have been eligible to play anyway, but Tom Holmes is injured. He's obviously on loan there. I think he's done something drastic to his knee, so he's not available. But like I say, the terms of the loan would have meant that he couldn't play anyway. Former Hatter Sam Nombe is up front for them. He'll be starting, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, previous seasons they've had Pelly on loan from us, haven't they? They've had Fred Onyedinma on loan from us, and those two kind of signings would kind of tell you where they're at, really, as a club, wouldn't it? Because you take Fred for his sort of directness out wide, and you take Pelly for everything that he brings you in the centre of the pitch. I watched Rotherham last week against Burton. I didn't know if this game was going ahead or not, but you know what they say, Jimbo, fail to prepare to fail and all that. So I watched it just in case this game was going ahead, just so I knew roughly what we were getting ourselves into.
For the training session you're going to lead them in.
I've not discussed whether Jack needs me on Friday now that he's buzzing away, but if he does, Jack, you know where I am, mate. I'm more than happy to help out again. Not a problem. I didn't think much to Rotherham, I've got to say. Now, that's kind of weird because you look at the form table of the last 5 games and they're top of it, which is a bit silly. But that was the only game they've dropped points in those last 5 games. Burton went 2-0 up. Different Burton side to the one we played. They actually looked quite useful on the night. But then from 2-0 up, they visibly didn't know what to do with themselves. And credit to Rotherham, they got themselves back into it and scored an injury time equaliser. But their defence looks very, very shaky, which says something when Tom Holmes isn't even in it. And I would be very, very surprised if we can't get after them in that direction. I think they're missing someone out wide. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he's an international for Curacao, so he's presumably going to be missing. He did start that night. So they're without players like we are. So that'll be interesting, first and foremost, whether it impacts them directly. But I suppose the first point of attention is Sam Nombe. We know about him. It didn't really happen for him at Luton. He's got a point to prove immediately, to prove to Luton people what he's all about, because we never saw anything really. That when he signed, we kind of thought that we were signing one for the future, but it never really happened. And we've got to make sure it doesn't happen on Saturday.
Yeah, he's done reasonably well at the two clubs since Luton. I think it's two clubs anyway. Yeah, but we've had that this season, and there's going to be players that want to come and prove a point, but the point we've got to prove is that Luton are back, as you said in the previous podcast, and that this promotion push can fully get right on the tracks. We need to do what we did in an away game. We need to now start to pick up this home form, because as exciting and nerve-wracking as the Forest Green game was, it was far too harem-scarum for my liking, and I think we need to get back to making that place a fortress and not the library that opposition fans have been singing about for quite some time, because the atmosphere hasn't been that great. But again, the football hasn't been great. But now the football has seemed to be picking up, then hopefully the crowd can as well, and it can all snowball in a good way.
Yeah, I'll slightly correct you there with that Forest Green game. We need 90 minutes of the first 60 minutes of that Forest Green game, don't we? Because there was nothing wrong with that first 60 whatsoever. We just don't ever want to see the following 25 minutes ever again. Arjani Mata is the Curacao international who'll be missing for this. He played on the right wing in that game against Burton, so that might help us in an attacking sense. Jordan Hugill has done the rounds, Dan. Yeah, I don't think he starts for them. They play one through the middle, and that's usually Nombe. But it wouldn't be a bad option if they do need someone else. Obviously, we've come up against him many a time in the past. Preston would be one club that he's visited. West Ham as well, I think he was at. Didn't play against us for them, but he's been around plenty of clubs and got plenty of experience, and just someone that if he comes on the pitch, he's got a goal scoring record that you need to respect and make sure we keep tabs on him.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a name that always pipes up, certainly in recent years against us. He's been there and done it, hasn't he? And he'll be vital. He'll play an important part in their ambitions this season as well. Yeah, he's definitely one of those. I know a bit about Sean Raggett as well. He's a handy defender at the back, and Cameron Dawson in goal, another experienced goalkeeper. Yeah, they've got a good few players in there, and it's not going to be a walk in the park. No game in this league is, and if anybody thinks it is, they're in the wrong sport. But like Jimbo said, we need to bring the noise and help the lads continue this good form. We've won the last 4 games in all competitions, but you can't necessarily walk into it expecting to win, because that's where you trip up and fail. So we've got to approach it properly, like you said, prepare to fail to prepare, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't say they've got a good set of players. They're in good form as well. I think they've only lost one of the last 6 games. They're winning a lot of those as well. So they're in mid-table, but I think you'll start slowly seeing them climbing up the table, and we've got to keep our tabs on Nombe, because I know he'll have a point to prove from his loan spell in the COVID season with us. His short spell that he had with us didn't really get going properly for whatever reason, but he seems to be finding his feet there, and we've got to be wary of him as well, and he's someone we should know about anyway.
We should, yeah. Extensive injury list that Rotherham have got. Sean Raggett, who you just mentioned, one that's on that injury list. Liam Kelly, who captained Coventry against us at Wembley a couple of seasons ago, is another one who's on that injury list for them. So I don't actually know exactly how they're going to line up on Saturday. But as I say, they are missing Mata, who scored one of their goals in a 3-0 win over Lincoln on Saturday, Jimbo. And that result in itself tells you that they need to be respected, because we know what Lincoln did to us.
Yeah, they're very, very solid against us. They looked very good unit, didn't they? So to go up against them and beat them, that's kind of what this division is, though, isn't it? And if you can get on a good run, you can get some consistency going, we are on a good run, but it's not all been in the league so far. The 4 games, 2 of them in the cup competition. So if you can start translating that into the league and go on a run, obviously everybody will know from 6 years ago that we did that from roughly this point and went on a ridiculous run all the way to the title. I don't think that it's going to be that close at the top this time around. I think that there obviously are some very good sides that we've played most of them already, and hopefully we can get them back when we play them in the reverse fixtures. But I think that it's all out there in front of us now. The possibilities are there back again, and I don't think that had been really there for a while. So to have the possibilities are great, but you've got to then take them, and that is what has been happening under Jack Wilshere. So I think that we can be really confident going into this game, and if they've got injury troubles, and for God knows how long we haven't really, we can really take it to this Rotherham team.
Yeah, we'll come on to our side shortly. Just to finish up on Rotherham though, Dan, 8 points from their first 10 games, 13 points from their next 5. So these injuries don't seem to be doing too much of an issue for them, but they've only picked up 6 points from 7 games on their travels and only scored 5 goals in those 7 games. So they're not free scoring on the road. It feels like one of those that if we can get in front, it's a game that we can control. I mean, Jack likes to control anyway, but quite clearly they seem to be much better on their own patch than they do when they go on their travels.
Yeah, most teams are really. I mean, I think we're an exception this year because, for want of we haven't exactly been very good at home this season anyway. But let's forget all about that now because we're a different animal from the one we were under Glenfield anyway. But yeah, I think they'll be similar to last time out at Kenilworth Road. I actually spoke to Mick Harford after that, and I said it felt to me like they grabbed the goal as early as possible and just sat. And I think they're going to try and sit as long as possible and hold us off for as long as possible because I think they'll recognise that the tables have turned for us. They'd be naive to think otherwise. Really, I think they'll obviously want to try and win the game and continue their decent form that they've had, and they want to put their away form right, obviously. But I think for them, if they try and sit and really frustrate us, then you might get the old home fans turning on the players sort of thing, which has been mostly the case this season anyway. Because let's face it doesn't take too much for our fans to turn ugly a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like it's an old tactic that does work if you get it right. But yeah, like I say, how do you do it? Do you sit back or do you just go at us?
Well, do neither, hopefully.
Hopefully they don't show up. That'd be nice, but they're obliged to because we've not pulled the game for international call-ups this time. So
no, and it's interesting that they're missing a couple of players. So they didn't get a third international that many thought were going to get called up. Someone from Jamaica are trying to get someone from them, but obviously it didn't happen. So we're both missing a couple of players to international duty. But Dan's right there with regards to home. I kind of feel I'm feeling a bit sorry for those of our fans that just do home games and only league home games because they've not experienced the good 2 away games of the Jack Wilshere era, and they didn't really. I mean, for all that it was a nerve jangling night in the end against Forest Green, it was an enjoyable night of football, certainly for the first hour. And if you didn't go to that game, you didn't experience that either. So you haven't really experienced much at home this season because the home performances have been dreadful, really, under Bloomfield. So from that point of view, this feels like it could be another defining game. We've put our statement out last week against Stockport, and this could be a sort of table-turning game at home because if we get the home fans behind, listen, the away fans are going to be behind us now because pretty much everyone who went to Stockport on Saturday were the ones that go everywhere because there were only 1,100 of the ticket allocation. That's a given now. If they can get the home fans behind us as well and get Kenilworth Road starting to rock a little bit, we all know exactly where it leads and we all know exactly what it does to the results on the pitch.
I hope that's the case because there's no better place to be than inside the Kenilworth Road when it's absolutely rocking.
You haven't lost your devices in plug sockets recently, have you? You want the plug sockets to fall apart again, don't you?
It soon explained what that means, but when it's rocking, the lads in front of the press box, when they go absolutely bananas at a goal and they're bumping into the front of the press box, it knocks out the plugs and stuff. And I'm not knocking it. I love it because I'm like, that is some celebration if you can knock a plug out of a socket and have me holding on my laptop. I haven't had that for a long time. I haven't felt the ground shake for a while. I haven't, even though the Forest Green game was a good game and bit of a roller coaster, it was a bit like, well, as I understand, I can understand this. They're a non-league team. There's nothing in it for us other than to win the game, and it's not that exciting. And I take that, but the league is the bread and butter, and now I've said it in the previous podcast. Promotion's back on the table now. If we can get this form right, what Dan said. Teams traditionally can come and frustrate Luton, and then it gets a bit nervy. And if they do that, then that could happen. But if you turn up like you did against Forest Green for an hour and just absolutely control the game and look to have it won, got to do the next half an hour, of course. But if you can have that control, then I think the home fans will start to see what the away was like, which is that you can go to anywhere and you've got enough firepower to blow teams away. That should be the case. Of course, it should have, would have, could have never actually worked out. You've got to actually go and do that. But I feel more confident, and everybody else probably should do now, because the words are, we want to be the fittest team, the hardest running team in the division. Now, most of this division is working harder than your opposition team and crushing their spirit. Then you've got to find some quality. I don't think that's been there for a lot of the season, but suddenly it is scoring bucket loads of goals now. Well, this is the time. If we can start doing that, I think a lot more people will start to believe.
Yeah, there's a few reasons why this is a big game, Dan. This starts a run of 3 home games in 4. Obviously, the Barnsley away game splits up Huddersfield at home and Bolton at home after that, which, that is a tricky week of football. Barnsley away, Huddersfield at home, Bolton at home. You take a decent points tally from that and you're doing yourself favours. The other reason why is some teams are on international duty. I've not checked the fixtures out or anything like that, but we know Stockport aren't playing. So it's effectively our game in hand on Stockport. We win it, we go 3 points behind them. Stockport may not finish the day top of the table. Obviously, it depends on who else is playing and everything else. But one thing's for sure, we are going to have to finish in and around Stockport if we want to achieve our aims this season. So to move within 3 points of them will be massive. So it's a big game.
Absolutely, it's a big game, yeah. And like you say, we're coming off the back of the four wins in a row. We've mentioned it a lot, and a couple of them were cup games. But this is the first proper home game since Jack's first game against Mansfield, I kind of expected this as well. I lowered my expectations for that game because I thought, well, Jack's been in the building 5 minutes. We're not going to see a real change overnight. And obviously it transpired that way as well. And I hate being right sometimes. But I think this time, it's an opportunity to sell the game out, get bums on seats, make sure that we're ready. The players are ready to go, and us fans have got to do our bit as well. And it's a chance to make a real statement. I think if we can not just get a win, but get a clean sheet, get a couple of goals in, like Jimbo's saying, the goals the last couple of games have been flying in. We've scored 7-10 goals in the last 3 games in all comps. Some going for a team that couldn't hit the target for love nor money beforehand. For all the chances we're creating, we weren't putting anything away. Now we're seeing that. We just need to tighten up a bit at the back, and like you say, turn the 60 minutes of dominance into 75 to 85 to 90, 95 or whatever. And Saturday's an opportunity to do that because, like I say, it's Jack's first home league game since the first one against Mansfield, and all the stuff that's happened in between. Like you said, a lot of the home supporters haven't been at Kenilworth, haven't been at games to see that because it's not possible for everyone to get to away games as well, and a lot of us missed the cup games in between. So it's a massive game, an opportunity to make a real statement.
Indeed, yeah. We couldn't hit the cow, let alone its backside, with the banjo to finish off the analogy that you half went with there. And
I was getting tongue-tied, Kev.
That's absolutely fair enough. Jimbo, let's bring it round to the Town then. We know we're going to be forced into a change. We'll come on to that in a minute because that's in the centre of the park. first and foremost, was 3 at the back just for Stockport, or are we going through, or would you expect us to line up 3 at the back on Saturday?
Well, I think that proves that you can do either or. I think that kind of matched up what Stockport were playing with, whereas at home you could conceivably go back to the formation that he played at the start of, I say the start of his reign, I think 5 minutes ago on it. But if you've got those options and that flexibility, happy days, because then, if it ain't going right, you can switch it around, change players' positions, fantastic, and, do all those sorts of things. Having a plan B, what a lovely luxury that would be. I think we've got it. So I think that you'd be more inclined to go more attacking in the 4-3-3, the version of that Jack has been playing. But then again, 2 of the best performers in that weekend game at Stockport.
I wish it was at Stockport.
Yeah.
What about the Coldplay gig?
Yeah, it's a long time ago, that wasn't it? Izzy Jones and Cohen Bramall absolutely flying up those sides. So I think Dan mentioned it in the previous podcast. You might be at quarter to 2 on Saturday going, I'm happy with that, whatever it is. When the team sheets come out, it'd be a lovely luxury to be in.
But are we playing the back 3 or a back 4 on Saturday in your view?
It's a
guess, isn't it?
It is a real guess, because we haven't experienced what he might do with that, and maybe the received wisdom would be, don't tinker with what was a fantastic performance on Saturday and stick with what you have and see how that works out at home. If you don't see any changes whatsoever, other than the one we know because of suspension and a fluky bit of international break situations, then happy days will be with that. So maybe let's say that because he hasn't changed Naki Wells or Mengi when they had some adversity, didn't change those 2 players, maybe he doesn't change this formation. So I think, yes, keep it the same.
Fair enough. Do you see him keeping the same formation, Dan?
Possibly, yeah. I'm just looking at the lineup from last Saturday. Obviously, Saville's suspended and away with Northern Ireland at the same time, which is quite some skill. Stroke of genius. But yeah, I think you probably, if Clark's fit again, I think he comes in for him, and obviously he'll have Walsh sitting deeper anyway. So Clark, he can more or less have a free roll, and Fanny will push up with it. Richards or whatever. I think Jimbo's right. If you're winning 3-0 away from home, getting a clean sheet against the top of the league, you're not changing it unless you really have to. So I would suggest keeping it as a back 3. I know we've banged on a lot about ditching it, but at the moment it seems to work. So I would suggest keeping with it for this game, unless Jack identifies something in Rotherham's setup that gives you the need to change it. I'd stick with it.
But if it doesn't work,
you can always change
it. If it doesn't work, then you should go to what he has been doing before. So this is a lovely position to be in, really.
Yeah, it is a lovely position to be in. I think he changed to a back 3 purely because of that Stockport front 3. I don't think he wants to play 3 at the back. I think he just respected the opposition, and that was absolutely the right thing to do. But he hasn't gone through the teams that he's gone through playing a back 4 and coached the teams that he's coached playing a back 4 to suddenly play a back 3 regularly at Kenilworth Road, particularly at Kenilworth Road. Maybe when we go to Barnsley, they've got a couple of tasty forwards, haven't they? He might go back to 3 at the back then. But I think we go back to a back 4 here. I think we just simply drop Mads Anderson back outside. Again, it's no disrespect to him, but that's what happened after the Mansfield game. I think we'll put someone in at right back, whether that's a Dauphin or whether that's Longwake, and we'll push Izzy Jones back to where he was for the Forest Green game, whether it's forward on the left or forward on the right. I do think we'll be a lot more attacking from the outset in this game. Obviously, the change is forced in midfield. George Saville's not here. Marvellous Nakamba would therefore come in, only he's not here either.
Al-Hamadi's away as well.
Al-Hamadi's away. We'll do the strikers in a minute, but you'd imagine Wells has done enough to keep his spot. So we're going to need someone in alongside Liam Walsh, and I don't know if you've heard anything, Jimbo, but I'm pretty sure I'm not expecting Jordan Clark to be back for this game. So how do we do the midfield? Do we go Walsh and Fanny dropped back with maybe Richards brought inside, or Nelson coming into the side, or do you see a completely different setup in the middle of the park?
Well, if you're going with the formation that you've mentioned, then I would have Walsh and Fanny sitting in that double six position, and then your formation would have Izzy Jones going further up the pitch and playing as winger, which would be where Richard was kind of playing. So then he comes in more as the 10, which you could do. And I'd be happy with that. He's equipped himself absolutely fantastically well out there. But I think centrally more is going to be more his position. And I think Wilshere's also talked about this, that sometimes it's better to play younger players a bit further out wide because the mistakes aren't so costly if they make them. I mean, I think we can talk about this guy as an experienced player. I know he's 18 years old, 30 odd games for Exeter, and he looks absolutely fantastic. It looks, he's a bloke and he's a man, and he's 18, but he looks like a proper player, and he is. He's very good. So he can conceivably come in and do that. Absolutely no qualms. All those options to me sound fantastic. Whichever way you play it, I'm happy for all of those. Don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I'm perfectly happy with the options as well. I mean, the big problem he's got is picking who to play in the front three, hasn't he? Izzy Jones will be one, I suspect, if he's not utilised deeper. I don't see any reason why he's going to drop Nicky Wells now. That wouldn't make any sense to me. It's just that left-sided one, wouldn't it? So you've got plenty of options there. You've got Gideon Kadir, you've got Millie Ali, both of whom can play there. We keep on hearing that Jacob Brown's not a million miles away. Wouldn't have thought he would start here, but he might be an option off the bench. At some point, Jerry Yates can play the wider role should he need to for 20 minutes or whatever. Shaden Morris is supposedly not a million miles away either. Again, I don't think he'll be ready for this one. But you've still got Kadir, you've still got Ali. If you were to have a front three in this game of Kadir, for example, on the left-hand side, Jones on the right-hand side, or maybe swap those two over as it was at Northampton, and Wells in the middle, there's goals, there's creativity, there's pace, there's scariness. I like it.
Exactly. The options are frightening. And it's interesting, actually, on the Friday press conference before the Stockport game, he was talking about the nines that they've got. They've got loads. Some of them might have to play out wide, but he doesn't mind that because then there's more space to get in around the sides and up around the back. So even if that happens and, say, Yates went out there and played out there, as Al Hamidi did on his first cameo debut, then, suddenly whatever he's saying is working and you'd be happy with that. For me, I want to see Gideon Kadir get out there because even on the, his cameo at the weekend showed that clean pair of heels to Dodgson and got him the red card. That lovely bit of skill to get up the pitch, and that would be frightening to anyone, I think.
How are you seeing the midfield and forwards, Dan?
I think midfields, I mean, you mentioned about sitting Fanny a bit deeper. I'm really enjoying him getting more forward. So I'd like to see him carry on playing a bit more forward. I think he's turning into a real asset, and we're starting to see why we brought him in. So I don't know whether he was unsettled before, but anyway, I'd like to see him in there. Richards, I think, in the middle as well, has been absolutely brilliant. Like you say, a player that's belayed his years, somebody who looks like he's played 200 games as opposed to 30 odd or whatever it is. Obviously Clark's not going to be back. Walsh will come in and sit deep, so I think them three in the middle works perfectly. And then you've got your wing backs, probably Brown and Bramall on the wing backs role. And then I don't know, I'd be tempted to start Yates up front with Wells, because I think with Wells playing at the level of confidence he's got now and starting to get into better positions, it might encourage Yates to grab the ball by the horns, because let's face it, he hasn't really set us alight at all. He's really not been at it. So I think maybe start him. I don't think he will, but I'm thinking maybe start with the two up front and go 3-5-2 and go at them that way. Because I think it's only a matter of times for Yates, I think, as a striker. I've said it a million times with Adebayo and Morris in the past when they've gone goal dry, that a couple of goals does wonders for your confidence. I think that's where Yates is at the moment. I think he could do with a start and an opportunity. I'd say Nordis as well, but he didn't get in the squad last week, so I can't see how he's getting in the squad this week either. So
yeah, no,
that's where I'd go.
I don't think you're going to see him in many squads that don't involve a trophy on the end of the competition name for the foreseeable now that Al Hamadi's back. Yeah, plenty of options. I should just say we keep getting asked lots of questions about what's happened to Zach Nelson. As far as I'm aware, nothing's happened to Zach Nelson. He was there on Saturday. He was involved in the warm-up prior to the game and everything. I think the problem Zach Nelson's got is this division only has 7 subs, whereas the divisions we've come from in the past have had 9, so he's had to cut 2 off. He was on the bench against Forest Green, where the FA Cup have 9 subs, but again, for the league game, you've got to have 7. And maybe the problem that Zach's got is he doesn't have a central midfielder on the bench, because if something happens to a central midfielder, he then simply moves Richards inside and puts a winger on in his place, as opposed to Zach Nelson. So he tries to cover all bases with 7 subs, and Nelson could probably only cover 1, whereas the people that have been on the bench can cover 2 or 3 positions. I don't subscribe to the fact that he's out of favour, Zach. It's just simply the players that are playing in the centre of the park for Jack at the moment have overtaken him, and there just isn't enough seats on the bench to get to get Zach in there.
Yeah, I think it's more that the players that have grabbed the ball by the horns have come in ahead of him, because he had that really effective game against Burton, and then kind of he didn't go off the boil, but he wasn't really affecting games in the way that we hoped he could and probably can. But then you give a game to the likes of Richards, and he does fantastically well, and Jack Wilshere, to the point Jack Wilshere's talking about him in the way of having talents that he had as a player. I think it's just simply that, and that is the way it's got to be. Unfortunately, some players are going to not get as many minutes because other players just perform better on the day when they get their chance, and that's how it has to be for a team and a squad with competition. We've got, if everybody comes back, two teams, 2 11s you could put out. Not everyone's going to get games. What that means is that hopefully we're going to be able to pick from the players that are in form and confident in the moment and do it that way. And I'm happy for that. It's sad for somebody like Nelson at the moment who isn't there, but it's a very, very long season in this division. He'll get his chance again.
And that's why it's important to go through in the trophy, wasn't it? So that he's got another game that he can play, because that's going to come up before the Fleetwood game. So that's 2 cup games. So, he'll get a chance in those, I would imagine, to showcase his stuff, particularly as we have a league game in midweek the week before. So that'll be 5 games in 15 days. No, we're not going to rotate throughout the course of that. So hopefully that answers the many questions that we keep on getting about Zach. I don't think he's necessarily out of favour. We've just got plenty of midfield options. And let's be honest, I don't think anyone appreciated quite how good Jake Richards is. He's got the potential to be a generational talent, certainly at this level and potentially the ones above. That's basically how we see it. Obviously, we've got to find someone to fill in for George Saville. I mean, I tell you, who would be a good person to fill in for George Saville? Get your boots on, Jack. I'm sure you're still more than capable of doing that for a game, mate.
Well, his ankles have said no, haven't they? So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but we've got lots of players that come in. The midfield was never a problem, even in the rough days before Wilshere turned up, but certainly not now. So I think we're comfortable with the options we've got there and who can come in. But now the forwards are scoring goals, or they're creating goals, and 2 a clean sheet. Sorry, at Stockport. I keep wanting to stay Stockwood Park, and it's definitely not those. But
definitely a homeboy, ain't you, James?
Definitely.
If we're in their division next season, can you ask them to move to Stockwood Park? Because it's a hell of a lot easier to get to Stockwood Park than it is to Stockport, and an awful lot quicker to do so. That's for sure. Listen, Jack, I believe you can still play the 6 role, but these 2 don't, so I can't. I'm outvoted, I'm afraid, mate.
Prove me wrong, Jack.
I'm outvoted, but What do I know? That's pretty much it for this episode of the podcast. But before we go, of course, score predictions, as always. We'll pop our leaderboard up as promised now so that you can see exactly where you are towards the top of the leaderboard. And as I keep on saying, every 5 games or so, I'll update it on the Trust website and we'll include the link in the show notes. I'll do it every 5 games just so we don't clog up the website and things like that. Jimbo, you're furthest from me. Luton versus Rotherham. How does it finish? None of this reverse psychology mumbo jumbo. Them days are long gone, my friend.
Oh, happily. No, I'm in a very confident mood. I thought a draw at Stockport. I thought that would be great. And they absolutely taught me a lesson there to just be a bit more confident with my score prediction. So I'm going to go for another 3-goal masterclass. I think they'll get one just to be kind. So 3-1 Luton.
Dan, Luton v Rotherham.
I'm going 2-1. I think, let's not underestimate them. I'm sure they've got a goal in them. And, we've said in the last podcast and we've said it before, that there are still mistakes that creep in and teams will pick up on that. But I think we've got enough about us to give ourselves home advantage and carry the momentum on from the last few games. So I've gone 2-1. I think it'll get nervy, but I think we'll win it 2-1.
Don't take up sales, whatever you do.
Go on, what's yours then?
Yeah, no, I see this as a routine Luton win. I saw it as a routine Luton win beforehand, and I still see that. I'm buoyed by the fact that one of their attackers has been called away on international duty. That'll help. 5 goals. What was the statistic I said? 5 goals in 7 away games.
Something like that.
That says to me that they're not going to be particularly threatening on the road. I don't think Sam Nombe's even looked at a goal at Kenilworth Road before, has he, let alone score one. So
he didn't when he played for us.
Absolutely. And let's hope that carries on Saturday. 3-0 for me. Just a repeat of Saturday. Repeat of the first hour of the Forest Green game. But in a league game, you don't throw attacker after attacker after attacker on to get into the game, do you? You preserve your goal difference. We're all happy with a 3-0 Luton win, and on we'll move to Barnsley.
Yeah, I'm with you in the
Stockwood Park.
If they could play at Stockwood Park, that'd be handy as well, because that's a bit of a trick.
I think that, the goals are flowing, the confidence, the chances are coming, but you're taking them when you get the chances is a key thing as well. I think there are goals in this one, and I think they're all there. So.
I think we'll win this 3-0, but I don't necessarily think we're going to be 3-0 up after 5 minutes or anything like that. We might have to break them down a little bit. We might have to be patient. We might take half an hour to do this. If it takes half an hour, keep on encouraging them if you've got a ticket in the stands. Let's not, just because we're not ahead at half an hour, lose all of our rag and everything else. Let's get right behind these boys, because over 90 minutes, if we can get behind them, their quality will show in more games than it doesn't. And do you know what? If we suffer and we do lose a goal and we go behind, let's get behind them even louder, because when that's happened in the past, teams have crumbled equally as quickly as they've gone ahead of us. The players are showing that they're up for doing their role, and it's our role in the stands to do our bit as well. And to help with that, the club are doing their fan zone bit before the game. That marquee on the Kenilworth forecourt, the beers that they're getting in there are really good. All the music and everything else, it gets the place jumping before the game. So if you can get down there, if you want to drink before the game, get down there. I'm sure they'll do an offer. We've not been told of it, but keep an eye on the club's socials. They usually do an offer at some point before the game. Get the voices well oiled, because if Saturday was anything to go by, you are absolutely going to need them, and enjoy every single moment. And then together as one, we can get these 3 points, which will get us right into the mix at the top end of League One. That is pretty much it for this episode of the podcast. Do get your score predictions in, and obviously if you get the correct score spot on, we will give you a shout out in the review episode, which will be out at the usual time next week. Yep, thanks for watching or listening, however it is that you consume this podcast. We really do appreciate all of your support, guys. And if you see me on Saturday and you want to come over and say hello, feel free.
He's angling for you to buy him a beer. You know he is, in the fan zone.
Do you know what? I won't say no if that is the case, Jimbo, but I was thinking that you were going to get me a beer in the fan zone. No?
What is the beer situation in the fan zone?
what is
Well, you
this
go
situation?
up to the fan zone and buy a beer, Jim.
Yeah,
mate.
you give them your bank card.
What beers they got on?
Cruz Campo's the lager that's on there. I think they've got I think it's Magners that they've got on tap. Got a couple. I think they're on about getting a couple of bottled beers in there as well. So it's a decent selection. There's wines as well for the ladies as well. Decent selection. Decent selection and stuff. And you can buy me a beer after all that, Jimbo.
I'll be up for a beer. I'll be there.
There you go. If you see us before the game, come and say hello and
Get Kev to buy you a beer.
And let us know what you think. Well, if you like the podcast, let us know what you think of the podcast. We always appreciate all of your support, guys. Thanks again to all of the folks at Marsh House, the proud new home of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, and of course to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music. Until next time, as I said earlier, which will be the review of what we hope will be another 3 points on this merry wave of positivity under Jack Wilshere. From Jimbo, from Dan and myself, come on you Hatters, 3 points on Saturday, please.